What's good, y'all? Appreciate you for pulling up to Psosi Studio. My name is Perry Sosi, otherwise known as Psosi, the people's designer, photographer, videographer, etc. And today I'm going to be doing my first ever solo pod. Yeah, there was just something that happened recently in the photo design community relating to AI and sports and all that. And so I thought it would just be cool slash, interesting to just sit down, talk about it a little bit. Yeah, to kind of set the scene, I think, we all know that the USA men's Olympic hockey team won gold and in these past Winter Olympics. So, shout out to them for bringing gold to the US for the first time in a minute. And, one of the big stories in that game was Jack Hughes and his performance and the iconic broken, front tooth that, in photos that were released post game and, with the gold medal trophies, celebration and all that. And that's where the issue comes into play, where we have a very popular Instagram, or not Instagram artist, but very popular designer slash like I guess photographer, creative director Jeff Cole, who made this image of what appears to be Jack Hughes biting the gold medal. And so when I first saw this, I was like, okay, this is pretty sick. I think I don't think I initially thought it was a real photo just because just looking at it, with the cropping, I guess it could be a real photo, but it looks a little too posed. But yeah, for some context, I guess Cole is somebody that I've been following for a while now. I thought, he's always made some very cool like photo manipulation type of graphics and very cool sports graphics. And he's also the owner of the iconic or co-founder of the iconic brand, which they make sports posters with like motivational quotes, things of that nature. And so, like, having seen his work before, like, this was an image that felt very familiar. And I think because I knew who he was and who was posting it, like, when I saw the image, I'm like, okay, I figured this is probably some sort of photo manipulation. I think the concept and idea is cool to have that zoom in on the tooth and then have the gold medal. Like, the composition works really well. Like, you see the American flag swooping around, like, his shoulders and that area. It just overall like a very patriotic image. This image ended up getting how many likes on Instagram? Let's see. It got 412K likes. I don't who even knows how many like views, impressions it got on various social platforms. Even this was just on Instagram. But yeah, when I first saw it, I personally didn't really see any issue with it. I guess I wasn't even really thinking about AI playing a role. But then I look at the comments. I start scrolling through the comments, and I'm seeing a lot of photographers commenting like, "Yo, this is AI slop." Actually, I want to read a few of the comments that they said. They said, "You must be so proud that the computer made this for you." Somebody else said, "AI slop would have been a great photo. I wonder if anyone actually shot one like it." And another person said, "You need to tag this as AI content within the Instagram app. A disclaimer in the comments is not enough. I've reported this post for false information." So those were just a few of the comments. Honestly, let's continue just so you guys can really feel how passionate people were about this and expressing how against it they were, especially looks like other creatives. Someone else said, "Why wouldn't you label this AI in the caption? It's misleading given its relevancy. It's also ethically questionable from a stylistic perspective because the prompter model was trained on the current style of photographer shooting the Olympics. And I'm not anti-AI. I'm not anti-AI. See my feed. I guess someone that does AI artwork as well, but I'm against copying style and living a world of gray intellectual property." Someone else said so time to delete, and another person said so misleading when real photographers are grinding at the Olympics and you can't even tag the photographer who inspired this AI mock-up. So yeah, after reading that, I was like, whoa. And then I was even seeing, like, I saw my boy Sam, and he said that, this guy is someone that's been stealing photographers' work for years and, kind of passing it on as his own. And so just seeing all that, I was like, wow, like, I wasn't even really like considering those things when I initially saw this photo come up on my feed. I just saw, okay, wow, that's a cool photo. I know this, I'm familiar with this guy's work. Like, this is just another one of his kind of like scenes that he make, like a photo that he creates that doesn't exist.
and it looks cool at the end of the day. But then when you bring in the fact that it is, uses AI, I guess that is when we can start questioning, you know, I guess the ethical lines that may have been crossed as an artist posting something like this and then kind of framing it as your own work, maybe even as your own photo, because I believe Jeff Cole does also do photography. So someone could be led to believe that maybe he took this photo, maybe he was at the Olympics. Um, but yeah, I'm not gonna lie. My initial first reaction was like, "All right, you guys are in regards to people commenting like AI slop." I'm like, this. I don't think this is AI slop. Like, I think there's other stuff out there. Like, just look at any Cowshy like ad. Like, I think that's AI slop. See, so this is another thing. I wish that we could know what exactly was AI versus what wasn't. Like, as I was doing my research kind of on this, the original, I guess, like what could be probably considered the original reference image was taken by Elsa Garrison. And I saw people in the comments saying like, "Oh, you should at her because this is, where you got your inspiration from." Most likely because the photo that she took is looks very similar to the rendition that he has.
His graphic or photo manipulation, whatever, is from a slightly different angle, which I think is what would suggest the fact that it is like fully AI, like AI fully created the image. Because my initial thought was that like he found a photo of that angle and then manipulated it with the gold metal and then added the flag, maybe added different elements because I mean, as someone that has been very active in Photoshop, the especially the past couple of years with my job with Columbia football, like I honestly am a big fan of photo manipulation art. I think it is so cool to be able to create a scene that doesn't exist and make it look real, but like not using AI though, but like actually piecing together different like photo assets, from wherever you source them and then bringing it together to create a cohesive image. I think that is some of the coolest type of work. And I feel like implement that a lot even with my graphics, but I would say it would be disappointing to know that the whole thing was just kind of like a prompt using reference images. Yeah, given all that sort of context and knowledge after I originally saw it, I could see why there's so much opposition and him getting so much social clout off of this to kind of further his brand. And, he's someone that he's already has like a million followers. He's a very established creative and I guess, smaller creators that are, really trying to, work on the highest level. The Olympics is one of the peaks of, being a sports creator, getting to take photos there, getting to design around that. And so I guess like for people to feel like what's like it just doesn't feel fair to be working so hard doing it the right way and then someone like a Jeff Cole can just use computer, the technology that we have, plus, his brain. Because I think one thing about, using AI a lot of the times, like as much as I am I also want to make it clear that I am not in agreement with using AI to like fully make things. I think when you use it as a tool to like assist in little things like generative AI, for instance, in Photoshop. I mean, like who as who as a designer is gonna be like, oh, I'm anti-generative photo. Like, I mean, let's be for real. Like, it saves you like an immense amount of time where you don't have to clone stamp stuff to remove things, whatever. I think if you're using it in a way where it doesn't become the artist itself, rather, but then just a tool. I think we as artists creatives can work smarter, not harder, and utilize the technology that is now available to us. But yeah, I want to read you guys what Jeff Cole had to say. After he received all this critique, he posted this on his Instagram story, and he said, "For my followers and critics, I grew up in art schools, drawing and painting and sculpting. I majored in illustration. I studied light and composition." And spent my entire life crafting my skills. I built in Photoshop, worked every creative job you can think of, built businesses, licensed photography, directed shoots, designed for global brands. I didn't skip the process. I've moved through every stage of modern art evolution. When I use AI, it's not because I can't create without it. It's because I understand creation deeply enough to use the next tool intentionally. No career or craft is immune to disruption. Industries shift and artists adapt. That's history. No creative medium has ever been guaranteed permanence. I'm building where the industry is going and don't need your permission. If your value is access to equipment, that's a fragile edge. And he wishes you well if that's your attitude. I guess. So yeah, I mean, I think for him, he's also probably thinking like my whole life before AI was really a thing. Like I've shown proof that I, as a creative, can make things on my own accord. But now that I have access to the tools, why not like take advantage of it? I guess is what he's getting at. And I don't know who's to say whether that's right or wrong. But in this case, quite frankly, I'm leaning more towards that. I feel like the reaction is justified if you literally just typed in like, yo, whatever AI program he's using, yeah, combine this image, make it look like it's from this angle shot, like with whatever camera, and add this lighting, that lighting. If he did that and then posted it and kind of just tried to pass it off as his own work, then I can understand people being very upset about that, especially given the other incredible artwork that has come out of the Olympics. And then especially because he's already someone that isn't a, has a lot of social media capital, and I mean, the post got almost 500,000 likes. I mean, that's a lot of reach of people thinking that you made that artwork. So I think there's something to be critiqued about that. But I mean, I don't know. I'm still kind of like a little in between, but I do still think there's a bit of an overreaction by, in general, the sports creative community. I mean, I was seeing a lot of people posting on their stories about it, voicing their frustration, and I'm like, at the end of the day, he came up with the idea. I think that's something that you can't take away from him in that sense. It's that he still came up with the idea to do that. Like you or I didn't come up with the idea to make that image. If someone wanted to, like, if you had the idea and were like, okay, let me do it the right way and make it in Photoshop, and let me try and find it, maybe even use Elsa's image and then tweak it, whatever, and make it look like he's biting the metal, then you could have done that. But you and I did it. So I think, um, yeah, there's something to be said on that side too, where it's like when you have an idea and you act on it, you have some sort of stake, I guess, in what the output is. Um, but yeah, going off of that, there was actually an artist that ended up making his own rendition of the Jack Hughes chipped tooth in his own graphic. This is an artist on Instagram, goes by at Jorge's PSD, I guess, or his name is Jorge Rodriguez, and he's someone that I've actually been following for a couple of years now as well. Really big fan of his work and his ability to really create very cool graphics, especially with the type of lighting and colors and just like compositions that he's able to create. I think he's very skilled in that. But yeah, we could take a look at what Ore made. And so he made this graphic, I guess, with filling in the gap of the tooth with, I'm assuming, I guess we can call it a grill, like a tooth grill. And I thought, when I saw it, I'm like, okay, this is pretty cool. It's got like a colorful grill with the Olympic symbol in it, some fillers, whatever, and it has like some copywriting on it, the price of gold, because I mean, this guy lost his front tooth in the midst of pursuing that gold. But yeah, looking at it, I'm like, okay, this definitely parallels what we saw with Cole's graphic, with focusing on the teeth in a cropped shot. And I mean, Cole's didn't have any copywriting. This has some copywriting to add just some more story to the image. But when I was looking at the comments on this, I didn't see anything about using photographers' photos without credit, or I was the opposite. Everyone was like really praising him. So someone said literally saw the AI one right before this. This one is much better. Someone else said this is dope, OMG. And then someone said this is better than whatever AI Cole used, which is funny because they called Jeff Cole AI Cole. Um, Someone else said year after that AI image, love the work. Yeah, so just a lot of positive comments, and I feel like I agree with the positive comments and that it's a great design, but I'm like, it's just such a stark difference. I'm just a little bit surprised because he didn't. I mean, I don't even think he credited the photographer and like, oh yeah, like this is whoever's photo. Um, and then he also made like another graphic for Alyssa Liu with, she has like the um gum piercing, and that one was really cool. That one did some crazy numbers too, even got more likes than what Jeff Cole posted. He posted a process video so you can see how he actually pieced it together, which I think is very important. So we can see that okay, he didn't use AI. He literally like manufactured this, from his brain. So like I was saying earlier, you and I decided not to we didn't have that idea and didn't make it. And then Jorge actually was like, okay, that's a good idea, but let me do it the right way. And he made the graphics. So kudos to him for doing that. But yeah, just seeing the difference in reaction makes me think that uh, it's not really about the artwork itself that people are fired up about. I think it's about ownership of work. And I think that's always tricky, especially now in this day and age where it's so easy to just like put stuff out there on, digital platforms. And I mean, like, what are the guidelines? What are the rules for sort of reinventing, reusing other people's work, photos, designs, building off of that, giving people credit where it's due. Just in regards to like the whole crediting thing, like giving people credit, especially when it comes to photographers and specifically in sports. Like I've been following sports graphics since I was in high school. I ain't never see like it is so rare to ever see sports like designer tagging whatever photo like photographer took the photos that they're using. And I'm like, that's just, I mean, yeah, that's just how it is. People source images from wherever and make super cool designs, but it's like, does the photographer who took it deserve credit for what the final outcome is, even though if someone like uses that and like completely manipulates, changes things to create like a completely different image that exists. Like, where do we draw the line on that? I don't think I really know or have the answer. I think my opinion is someone that has that is also a photographer and designer. Like on the photography end, I don't think anyone's ever really used my images to like make anything. So maybe that's why it's harder for me to empathize on that because like I guess I don't know what it feels like. But I will say as someone that posts things on social media, I have experienced like some like account posting my work and getting way more likes on it than I did. Like for instance, right, last year I made this Biba Doobie graphic where I made it was like Biba Doobie in place of NBA Youngboy in one of Youngboy's cover arts, whatever. So on my account, I posted it. I got 142 likes, 3,500 so views, whatever, right? But then Cover Art Matters, they're a big Instagram page. They posted my work. They tagged me though, which I appreciate. I didn't really get many followers from it anyway, but or rather, they posted it, and let's see how many likes that they got. They got 10K likes on theirs. Who knows how many insights? I don't know what I can't see their insights. But who knows how many views it was? But in that case, I was like, dang, yo, like it's not like I mean, they didn't like, I guess, steal my work because I mean, they still credited me, whatever. But I guess it can definitely feel some type of way when it's like you're the one as an artist that put the thought. You have the idea for this. Like, I don't think anybody else has ever thought of putting Deepa Doobie in that NBA Youngboy cover. So yeah, I thought of it. I was like, let me make it, let me post it. Some people saw it, some people liked it when I posted it. Some, Cover Art Matters got their eyes on it, posted it on their page, and it seems like a lot of people actually thought that it was quite interesting and funny, and it got some traction. But it's like at that point, who owns like I don't own the Young Boy cover or Biba Doobie image that I used in it. So it's like, can I even be that mad about it? It's not my image, but I like ended up making something new out of it. I think that's just something to think about. Again, I don't think I really have a definitive answer on what like those guidelines should be. I think it's very gray. I don't think it's when it comes to design. I think it's more gray than like photography. I think photography, there's no question. Like someone takes a photo, like you should credit them for that photo because that's pretty like A/B. Like they had their camera, they took the photo. You now have that photo that they took on their camera, and you're posting it. I think that's a lot more straightforward. But with design, it's like, oh, like, are you really gonna like tag everybody that like, are you gonna tag the people that made that like grunge asset? I don't know. It's like in the digital space of making things, I think it gets kind of tricky. I will say one group of people that do a great job of crediting everybody in terms of a creative project is people that do like film or video projects, like especially the commercial work, because I follow, a lot of videographers, and you'll click on they'll post something, you'll click on the caption, it'll be like DP, director, gaffer, like it'll literally list everybody that was a part of the project, which I think is cool because especially because it highlights the people that don't always you don't think about. Like you think about, oh, maybe you think about the director, but you don't think about the person that's lighting the scene and who has like so much knowledge and vision on that. So I think, people in the film industry do it right where people making short films, they'll credit like everybody that's involved in the production process in their Instagram comments, or especially for like, or even I feel like people that do like fashion related shoots, I always see like they'll credit the stylist, the makeup artist, the photographer, the creative director, like they'll tag everybody involved. So I think that approach is great, a great way to do things. But yeah, going just back to the original topic of just AI ownership of artwork and who gets to decide like what's right or wrong with that. I guess really it's the audience maybe, or should it be the audience? Because I mean they're not the ones making things. But I mean, at the end of the day, I feel like a lot of times, the people, the people decide. The people decide who gets canceled, who doesn't. So I guess maybe in this case, the people decide um, what's right and wrong in posting work with AI or using other people's work and not crediting. Um, but yeah, I don't know if this was a very conclusive sort of discussion. I think a lot of things were left open ended. But yeah, I hope some of what I talked about said made sense, and that this was interesting to kind of just like listen to, especially for those of you that are not in the photography, design, or sports space. You might not even have any idea. You probably actually had no idea that any of this was, there was discourse on any of this. But I hope, you found it interesting and could take something from it. But yeah, let me see. Do I got anything else to kind of add to this? Um, this is the second episode of Psosi Studio Pod, but first solo episode. Um, literally the last episode that I recorded was like almost a year ago. It was like last year, May, I think. So, yeah, I think for me, this is just a way to just honestly practice talking about the industry that I'm in. I feel like I've been missing out on that side of things, talking about artwork and thinking critically about it since I graduated college. Because in school, like, it was kind of a very normal routine. We have critiques after um, every project, we're hearing from classmates. We're having to, I mean, we had to literally comment on other people's projects in order to like get a good grade. So I think it forced you to be in that mindset of thinking about art work from that perspective rather than just being like now that I'm working like full time being a creative, I'm just doing, making, and not like sitting back and looking at what else is kind of going on in the industry and in the space that I'm, heavily ingrained and invested in. But yeah, that's all I got. Hopefully, we'll get some more episodes going, some more topics. And yeah, with that being said, like, share, comment, all that good stuff. I mean, if you feel like it. And like I always say, much love. I taste way. Stay fresh, stay further, and I'll catch y'all next one.